afternoon, everybody. It is now September. I do apologise for the noise in the background. It's actually my washing machine. Unfortunately, I'm in a rented house, which means I'm on an electric meter. So it doesn't matter what time of day I actually do my washing. It's a standard surcharge. Right, so as I said, it's September 2023, and it has probably been the most hottest September that we've had in a long time that I'm aware of. Now, you're probably thinking, why on earth am I videoing pine cones that look like they're in an oven? The simple reason is because that's what I'm doing. I am videoing pine cones in an oven. Now, please, if you watch my video footage, make sure that if you do anything that I show you online, that it is done in a safe, uncluttered environment. Yes, there is a lot of clutter around my oven. I can only apologise. And that your room that you are doing it in is well ventilated. So I have actually got the windows open in the kitchen. Because of where they're situated, it's not going to cause a problem. And that you check that you have all the necessary safety equipment readily available. The main one being a smoke and carbon monoxide detector. Now, I love this time of year. It might sound like I'm being really loud, but I'm trying to compensate for the fact that I've actually got my washing machine on in the background. And one of the main reasons I love this time of year is because it's the best time, in my opinion, for children, especially if you've got young children, to learn about nature, learn about wildlife, learn about their surroundings. It doesn't matter if we're in a rural area or a urban area. And the main reason, like I said, I love autumn is because it's the time of year where everything's starting to die back. Unfortunately, yes, you do have to be aware of wildlife, especially insects, because especially wasps, they tend to go a little bit crazy at this time of year. So if you are going to do anything that's nature related with your children, safety is the only thing I can say. Wear gloves, wear eye protection, make sure you keep your hair covered, and that you always, after doing anything outdoors, wash your hands. Now, my little boy, he's 4, and he wants to make pine cone hedgehogs. So what I'm actually doing, I'm going to close the door now, is I have had a box of pine cones. I'll show you the box. I'm just going to bend down. So there's quite a few in there. And again, there are so many pine trees around. You don't have to literally go into the wilds to find pine cones. Most streets or near local parks will have pine cones that literally just fall off the trees and you just pick them up off the floor. Now, one of the things that obviously you've got to be vigilant of is that when you are using something like pine cones or conkers or acorns or leaves or anything you're using, is you've got to keep them dry. You do not want them to go mouldy. And sometimes, yes, I would recommend or suggest, what I've done in the past is I've soaked stuff in Milton. It may change the colour of the items, but don't use bleach. I mean, Milton is a type of bleach, but it's one of those that is advised, when you're sterilising baby bottles and stuff. So it's supposed to be, I suppose, what they class as being a food safe product, but don't quote me on that. So another way of sterilising things, which is something that I do quite regularly with my children, is putting them in an oven. Now, you don't want to leave them in there and forget about them. I mean, I'm quite lucky this oven does have a timer on it. But again, just because it's got a timer on, don't be negligent. I mean, I'm looking at my phone now. I've had the door open. They've been in there for about 5 minutes. Now, obviously, this oven hasn't got up to the temperature that I want it to get up to. But what you don't want to do is you don't actually want to burn the pine cones or acorns, which I have done in the past. I have burnt them in the past. I can put my hand up there. But what you want to be doing is what I call sterilizing them. So please, literally, by putting them under a heat, I wouldn't recommend putting them in the microwave. Because what the microwave will do is it will dry them out, which is great. It will suck all the moisture out of them. But it will be very intense. Just literally by, I mean, if you haven't got a small oven, and you've got like a tray or something you can use, in the past I have put them on top of my radiator, but again, don't block the radiator. Make sure that your ventilation is still flowing, you know, conduction and convection is still accessible. Or put them in the windowsill is another option on a sunny day like today. And one of the main reasons I obviously do this is because obviously if things have been lying on the floor or they've been in trees or, you know, they've exposed to the elements, you don't know what pathogens may potentially be living on these pine cones, but may be dormant. Another thing is you want to be vigilant about is obviously animals. Insects, not so worried about, but obviously, you know, you're walking around parks, people are renowned for letting their dogs urinate up trees, you know, people don't always pick up their dog mess. So again, you know, be vigilant. You know, I'm not saying don't go out there. This is the one thing I hate about today's society, is that children do not get the opportunity to be children anymore. When we were little, we used to play conkers till the cows came home, literally at this time of the year. You know, September, October, November, conker trees, yay, let's have a conker fight. You cannot do that anymore at school. Children are literally being wrapped up in cotton wool so much, and especially like during COVID as well. Children have not had the opportunity to be kids. And with my children, they love being outside. They love foraging, they love picking up stuff. And to me, personally, it's part of growing up. So all I'm doing basically is, and I have a pair of tongs as well, so please wear oven gloves or do what I'm doing, which is using a pair of tongs. And I'm just literally want to just check to see how warm these are. And if you're going to ever check to see what the temperature of something is, always use the back of your hand. Don't ever grab it like that. It is an instinct for people to grab like this. The only problem is if you grab something and it's hot and you're in pain, you're more than likely going to clench more. Just a minute, darling. Clench more than to actually release. So again, it's one of the things that when I had to do fire safety at work, they used to say, how do you test to make sure a door is safe to go through if there's a fire? And one of the things you're told is use the back of your hand, because that way if you burn the back of your hand, you've still got the use of your hand. I mean, obviously the most prudent thing to do is to not get burnt in the first place. But I just want to, obviously you don't want to do it straight away, but I just want to check how warm they are getting. And again, this is why I would say, you know, tongs, you can get them anywhere really. So at the moment, they're not really that hot. But again, what I don't want them to do is to scorch or burn. All I'm basically doing is I want to heat them up to make sure that they're 100% dried out, and then I will turn off the oven, let it cool down so they're back to climate. And another interesting fact as well about pine cones is they are great for telling what time of year it is and the weather. When it's dry, I think I've got this right, please again don't quote me, they stay open. And the reason they do that is to release the seeds. But when it's raining, they close up. and I believe that that is correct. But again, please don't quote me on it. I will double check that fact. I have a book actually, and it's in there. This is why I remembered it. And there was a way of checking the humidity in the air by using a pine cone, a piece of cardboard, and a needle. So if I can find the book that is in, then I will definitely take a photo and I will upload that onto social media later on today. So, I mean, like I said, the great thing about these pine cones is they're open. So if anything's in them, they're going to be 100% killed. But you don't want to burn your pine cones. You literally only want to like heat them up to potentially make them more user-friendly for your children. But again, even though they have been sterilized, after doing any activity with your children like this, please make sure they wash their hands. Thank you.